Everybody, thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to let everybody join into the Zoom app and we will get started here momentarily. Everybody, thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp and the Resource Collective of Small Business Bootcamp. For this January 4th, I'm Robert Theobald, the Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services at the Arizona Commerce Authority. And we're excited to start out this new year. We have a bunch of great new presenters, new content that we're excited to share with everybody, and we're excited you're here with us as well. As we like to do as we start the boot camps each week, we like to start by first thanking all of our community partners. We have over 140 community partners that help with the boot camps, and we cannot do them without their time, their effort, and their expertise. So we jump into this new year. Just a reminder, the Small Business Bootcamp is designed to help small businesses return through the COVID crisis and return stronger than ever. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. It is a resource collective and a content library, and we're going to touch on the content library here in a moment. And then for 2022, we've made some changes. First, we're doing the boot camps. We used to do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. We are switching to just Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. for the boot camp. And then throughout the month, there will be at least one, sometimes more workshops that we're going to add as part of the boot camp workshop series. And those will be with our community partners. Some will be live in person, some will be hybrid, and some will be full webinar format as well. But we're going to provide some of these great workshops to you. Along with our community partners, there's a lot of great workshops that are available. We want to be able to share those to this network. So be looking out for information on those as they develop. I can say our first one is the end of January 29th. It is with SCORE in SCORE Phoenix, and it's going to be in Mesa, an in-person workshop on starting a small business. Will be located in Mesa if you're interested in that. So with that, let's look at the content library. This is a great resource. We record all of our bootcamp webinars, and over the last year and a half, we've recorded over 180 presentations and have them available on our website. And it's an opportunity you can go back and review ones you may have missed because you weren't available, or find specific topics to help your business. We are in the process of revamping our website. So within the next week or two, you'll see some changes, and you will be able to filter the archive section, these presentations, by a number of different categories to help you find them easier. So we're really excited about that piece. Additionally, with COVID still lingering around, a couple websites that are very important to know about is the state's COVID-19 information and resource page, arizonatogether.org. And then the Arizona Commerce Authority set up a COVID-19 business resources website at azcommerce.com/COVID-19. And you can find additional business guidance, financial information, and other resources on that website for all size businesses in Arizona. We also like to mention some of the ACA's programs to support small businesses throughout the state. We have our Small Business Services, our Workforce Division, and our Arizona MEP, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership, that focuses on the needs of manufacturers throughout the state. Another great resource we have that is very timely is the ACA's Small Business Checklist. And this is an online interactive tool to help entrepreneurs, businesses, those looking to grow or expand or relocate to Arizona, understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs at the local, state, and federal level. This checklist is extremely in-depth, and it's kind of like a giant buffet of information. You can go through and click and find that information. But if you're looking for just a fast food type of quick drive-through resource on some of this information, we just launched, and it's in beta right now, and we encourage everybody to check it out. But we launched a new chat bot, and you can see on this little screen down the right-hand corner, you see our little chat bot. Her name is Sally. That stands for the state, sorry, state and local licensing information, SALLI. And that chatbot can help you get the kind of drive-through version of the checklist information. If you need to get more detail, you can always jump into the checklist, but it's a great new resource we have available to help all of you find the information you're looking for. Please feel free to jump in and check that out, and it will allow you to provide some feedback at the end of your experience. And we look forward to that feedback. So with that, we'll want to look at some business updates. First, at the end of the year, the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program that was through the SBA closed. So you're not able to apply for EIDL loans in 2022. If you have one pending, you're waiting to hear back, I would reach out directly to that program. The phone number is listed on the website for that customer service program, or you can contact the SBA's Arizona District Office and they can get you some information. Also, just a reminder, Goodyear, Superior, Phoenix, and I believe there may be some others that have just started some small business grants. We're going to post some links for those in the chat. Also, those in Maricopa County has a small business resilience program, and that is both a grant and a very low interest loan along with technical assistance. And then we're going to post a couple articles that jump into a few other grants and programs that you can find throughout the state. Some of these grants are competitive grants with limited numbers, but we want to share them because you can't win the grant if you don't apply. And some people may be able to apply and take advantage of some of those programs and grants that are available through some private organizations. So they're going to share that information. So you'll see a lot of information come through in the chat. And you can copy that, click on it, and all the stuff is also, most of it is available on our website under the COVID-19 Business Resources, under the financial information. So with that, we're going to turn the moment over to Faith to talk about this slide.
Thank you so much, Robert. Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. We are kicking off a fantastic year of programming for small businesses, and of course, kicking off with our Small Business Digital Academy. We launched this program last year and announced it on the Bootcamp, so this may not be the first time you've heard about it. However, this is a new cohort for 2022. So if you are a small business in need or interested in learning more how to build that digital presence, update or upgrade your digital marketing strategies, this is a perfect opportunity. This is a 6-week cohort program. We provide resources throughout that 6 weeks, as well as live learning sessions with statewide experts, as well as help from a wonderful network of mentors and business experts to assist you in identifying those strategies that work best for your business, as well as implementation that can also be helpful. So our applications for the Digital Academy are open. They just opened yesterday, so we're so excited again to share this opportunity with you all. Just as we had shared those links regarding those small business updates, I will be sharing the application and website link in the chat box momentarily, as well as my contact information. I do facilitate this program. So if you have any questions that aren't answered on the website, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. We would love to assist you and your small business to thrive online. So thanks for the time again, and thank you, Robert.
Excellent. Thank you, Faith. Yeah, we're excited. We really like the Digital Academy. We're excited to have as part of our programming. Just another note with this, it is, again, as it mentions on the slide, it's a 6-week program. And it does require about 4 to 6 hours a week of your time during those 6 weeks to maximize the learning and the activities that are involved in the program. But it's a great program. There is no cost except for your time and effort that you put into it. But please take a look at that information that Faith will be sharing. So with that, we want to look at some upcoming sessions. We're excited about our kickoff to 2022. We have a bunch of new presenters and new content that we are sharing. We're very excited about it. Next Tuesday, we'll have the 5 Ps of your business. If you're not sure what those are, you got to join us to find out. But it's going to be a very good presentation with our new presenter. And then we'll have post-pandemic conflict resolution online. We've got some experts from ASU, Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law that are going to share some tips and tricks for dealing with conflict resolution online. If you've ever seen some of the bad reviews that people post, learn some ways on how to deal with that and then work for some of those protocols. And as we're also working remotely and other things, there's a lot of new things you have to deal with. So it's gonna be a really exciting session. And then we've got the ultimate guide to starting your business from the attorneys at Spencer Fain. These are gonna be some do's and don'ts as you're starting your business, some things to be aware of to help you in your business to avoid some of those legal challenges. And then on Tuesday, February 1st, we've got part 1 of our actionable ideas for business owners. And then the following week will be part 2. We just don't have it listed here, but we've got, again, a great lineup coming forward in February or January and February. So please join us, put on your calendar, Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. And with that, we are going to jump into today's session. We have Alex Kopal. She's a coach and consultant for Elemental Life. We're really excited to have her with us today. So Alex, we are going to go ahead and turn the time over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year, everybody. All right, so let me get my slides up for you all. Cool, so today we're going to be talking about New Year, New Plans, SMART goal setting for a successful 2022. I hope you all had a positive transition into 22. If not, we'll make it positive. But as we come into the new year, you may have already set some goals or resolutions for both yourself and or your business. You may have even watched the last session in this bootcamp series. I believe it was in early December, that really focused on a broad overview of what you want to do this year, planning for 22, etc. And if you caught it, great. And if not, I'm sure it's on the archives page. So I highly recommend that you check it out. If you don't have a goal yet, awesome. We'll figure one out. And if you do, let's make sure that it is a SMART goal and it's something that is actionable and get you on track with a plan. So as we go through this session, I'll walk you through, goal setting, why it's important, what the goal is of the goal, right? And then how to make sure you can achieve that goal and achieve it in a specific timeline. And at some point in this session, I'll be calling on a volunteer to share their goal with us, and we'll walk through it on, how to make that goal SMART. So think about what your goal is for this year and have it ready as we go through this presentation. A recent study was done by Staples, and they surveyed 300 small businesses, and these are small businesses that set goals at the beginning of the year.
Alex, we're not seeing your screen. I don't know if you're trying to share it or not. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me do it again. Sometimes these things are finicky. All right, what about now?
Yep, we got it.
Great. All right, so Staples did a survey of 300 small businesses that set goals at the beginning of the year, and I believe this was last year or the year before. 77% of these businesses failed to reach their vision or their goal, and 80% failed to track their goals. And that's huge, because if you're not tracking your goal, how are you going to be able to meet that goal, right? And especially in business, we get excited, create these goals, and if there's not someone taking ownership of them or tracking them, if there's not measurable things along the line, it's really easy to lose sight of what these goals are. And this is the same with personal goals. I know a lot of people make resolutions, and I like to call them mantras, because you're like, I want to lose weight this year. Well, that's great, but how? What are you going to do to get there? So with my clients, I'm like, all right, let's set set an overall theme for your year, and then set goals within that theme and what they're going to be. So some of the key reasons why these goals were not met, these are specific reasons given through that study. So didn't support company purpose, vision, or mission. A lot of times these goals aren't aligned with what the company is trying to do. Wasn't aligned with the organization's capabilities. You know, if you have a pie in the sky goal and there's not the ability to achieve that goal, that's an issue. And if you don't have a plan on how to fix that, you're not going to meet your goal. Goal priority was not established. You know, not every goal is top priority. Sometimes some of them have to take a back seat and some of them have to be prioritized. So understanding and establishing priorities for your goals. Lack of leadership and support. I see this one a lot, especially in small businesses or corporations, even more so in large corporations. You know, a manager sets a goal for you and nobody's following through. Nobody takes leadership on the team, and you know, you lose sight of what's going on. So leadership and support of the goal. Also, it could be, you know, your team, say you're on a sales team, your sales team sets a goal, but your sales director doesn't support that goal. That's also an issue. Lack of clarity. Again, you know, if it's a very broad goal, if it doesn't lack specific information or clarity, or sometimes if it's not communicated well to the rest of the team, it's easy to lose sight of that goal. Lacking checkpoints. You know, if it's something that has multiple checkpoints or a long timeline, it's so important to understand when you need to hit those checkpoints, making sure you're on track. And if you're not, how to get back on track. You can really lose a lot of momentum, you know, not following through and checking in with yourself on those checkpoints. The goals were inflexible. All right, so goals, yes, you want to set dates, you want to be considerate of the amount of time it's going to take, but you also have to understand that life happens, right? Things happen outside of your control, outside of your scope, and you've got to be flexible and you've got to keep moving forward. So flexibility within goals is extremely important. No milestone sets. Again, this kind of goes back to those checkpoints. You've got to make sure that there are milestones, and more importantly, milestones to celebrate, right? You've got to have motivation to keep going. If it's just a hard grind on, you know, set the specific number of sales at the end of the year, if you're not celebrating with like activities or bonuses, there's really not a lot of motivation, or it's hard to keep people motivated. Goal success poorly defined. So really think about, what does success look like for that goal? Going back to, you know, your personal goal of weight loss. Well, how many pounds? Is it body fat composition? You know, what is the success? Is it feeling better? Is it sleeping better? Is it being able to move better? And then same with the business. You know, if you launch a product, what does success look like for you in that product launch? Failure to include the implementers. This is huge, especially if you're working with a team. A lot of times, you know, founders, inventors, CEOs will say, hey, this is the goal, everybody go do it. But they don't ask the people who are actually doing it if it's realistic, if it's achievable, if it's something that they're even, you know, motivated to complete, or maybe they don't understand the reason behind it. So please, if your goal involves multiple people outside of you, make sure they're included in the implementation and the goal setting process. That is really important. And I think a lot of times you'll find that there's things that you didn't even consider that they're aware of. So include those implementers in your goal setting. And the goal was undocumented or uncommunicated. Again, if you write something down, it makes it real and it makes it clear, and it's easy to come back to. Also communicating it with your team and the people around you that are helping you achieve that goal. Having something documented really clarifies what the intention is, and it's easy to go back to and understand where you're at. So before you start setting goals, or maybe you've already set one. I always like to ask my small business owners, because so much of your business relates to your personal life. And again, that's why I do both life coaching and small business consulting. I actually started in business consulting in college, did my career throughout corporate world, but your personal life highly affects your business life. And even more so with small businesses when you're family owned or it's only a few of you. So some questions to ask yourself before setting your business goals. Always start with why. Why did you start or join this business? Is it relevant, the goal that you're setting? Are you still on track? What your original goals were, or why you started what you've started? And do you want to still be on track, or did you take a new, diversion and like where you're going? Are you happy? Do you love what you do? If not, what could make that better? A lot of times, finding what sparks joy in your personal life also drives innovation and excitement and motivation within your business. What does success look like to you? Not only through your business, but your personal life, the personal lives of your employees, and how can you achieve that as well as setting these goals? So if you want to grow business in 22, but you also want to give, Jesse part-time work so he could be with his friend, be home with his kids, how does that work? How are you going to achieve that goal? You could do both and maybe improve your business as well as the overall morale of your employees. What motivates you and your customers and your employees? Keeping everybody motivated will help you get to your goals. Do you have time to be proactive? This is huge, especially for business owners in early startup phase. 2 to 5 years, we see so many people being reactive. They go in, they grind, they take calls, but they're not being proactive. They've got a lot of business coming in, but they don't have the time to be innovative or reach out to new business and look at maybe some other opportunities that might spark some joy and make their day a little more exciting. So look at it. Is that you? Do you have time to be proactive? Do you have time for continuing education? If not, how can you make that time? Because really, in the end, that's what's going to help you grow your business. And what do you wish could be different? It could be anything. It could be something simple from, I wish we had different coffee in the office, to something a lot bigger. Also think about, why do we want to set this goal and for who? Business goals in particular can be very vague. Again, based off numbers, even a lot of times they're sales numbers, or, we want to launch a specific product, but why? Who do we want to set this goal for, and why are we doing it? And that could be, what are we good at? Where are pain points? Who do we want to affect in these changes? Are they our, customers? Are they vendors that we're working with? What do we wish we could do better? Where are you spending too much time with editing business life as well as personal life? This is huge. A lot of us spin our wheels doing things that don't make us money or don't make us happy. And how can we get away from that? Where are you spending too much time that's not effectively getting you to where you want to be in your business? What are some of the drivers, motivators of our team? Knowing what motivates the people who are actually going to be implementing these goals, whether it's you or other people around you, is imperative to achieving your goals. What is the feedback we're giving by our customers? So what are your customers telling you? What can you do to help improve that feedback? Where are you excelling? A lot of time goals just focus on the negative part or what you want to change, but I highly recommend, acknowledging where you're excelling, what is working well, what you want to continue doing, because sometimes when we jump into these goals and we start trying to change things, we lose sight of the things that are actually working, and sometimes those fall off, and then we're in a worse situation than we were before. So make sure those things that you're excelling in are continuing forward. What needs attention, and what do we need to do today to keep doing those things that we're already doing well. So some of you may be familiar with SMART objectives, and SMART is just an acronym so you can easily remember what the specific objectives are of setting goals. So you have S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for timely. Anytime you set a goal or a plan, always kind of look at this. Make sure that you are touching on each letter here. This is going to really ensure that you're going to be able to hit your goals, that you will actually have everything you need to create a plan to reach your goals. And I want to give you all a moment. So take out some pen and paper and think about what your goal is for this year. It could be business goal, or personal goal even, but write it down. And as we go through the next few slides, I want you to really think about this goal and how you can make it SMART. I've got some questions on the next few slides that you can answer for yourself. And in the end, you can go through and make sure that you actually are setting SMART goals that will set you up for a specific plan, action plan for the rest of the year. And then in a minute, I would like to call on a volunteer to type your goal into the chat. So if you feel comfortable and want to come on and really walk through your goal with me live here, put your goal in the chat box and we'll select somebody shortly. All right, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to write down their goals. I'm going to go over the next slide, and then Robert or Faith, can you help me pick somebody from the chat? I can't actually see the chat here. There it is. We've got some good ones here. Let's see. Double email marketing list by end of 22. Become financially responsible. Improve website. Write content and discipline. These are good, guys. What else do we got? Publish my first ebook. Awesome. Hey, y'all, and there's some really good content on these bootcamp site, bootcamp archive on a lot of these. So make sure you're checking it out. Goal for 22 is to become an importer of goods. Great. All right. Debbie LaBelle, do you feel comfortable coming on and we can walk through your goal together?
All right, Debbie, give me a second. I'm gonna get you on here. All right, Debbie, your mic should be live and ready to go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just fine.
Great.
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So as I go through this, I will walk you through the questions and we'll make sure that we're setting your goal and making it a bit more SMART so that you can implement a specific plan in order to get to your goal.
Okay.
So this is a fun checklist I like to have for myself, especially when setting goals. I print it out and just have it on my desk. You can write your goal here. So if we were writing Debbie's goal here, it would be increase email marketing list by the end of 2022, or doubling email marketing list by the end of 22. Is that specific? What do you think, Debbie? Is it specific?
I think it is because it's talking about a specific list that we can track, and it's talking about, well, I guess I'm starting to get into measurable, but double is like a number related thing.
Yeah. So it's specific, but you could even make it more specific.
Okay.
You can call out how you're going to do it, through what channels you're going to double that list, whether it's, social media or data mining, purchasing lists. You can also add additional specific information on if there's more than one email marketing list, or increasing the, sorry, I had a brain glitch here. The frequency of your email marketing to grow that list. So there's a lot more additional information you could add in there to help make it a lot more specific. But yeah, it's specific, but you could actually deep dive further into it. Measurable, yep, we just covered that. So it is measurable. You want to double your goal or your list. Achievable. Is this goal achievable, Debbie?
I think it's a stretch goal.
Okay.
I think something more achievable would be like maybe growing it by 25 or 50% is probably more achievable.
Okay. And what are some of the things that are holding you back as far as it being achievable? What are some of, the setbacks that you might encounter?
Lack of marketing dollars to be able to go get those new audience members. I think that's probably the biggest one. So if I were to make the goal more specific, I'd probably say that we would need to organically grow it through channels that we already have, through existing customers having some sort of a referral program. Yeah, and so I guess not only just marketing dollars, not having enough marketing dollars, but just, I guess, resources in general, just being a small business. Yeah,
and that's extremely common, and for small businesses as well as, larger corporations. And I don't always think we think about that, when we're setting our goals. Until you're actually in the implementation of those goals, do those questions come up on the actual reality of the resources. You might know that it's a stretch goal, but what are your resources and how can you increase the ability or the resources in order to help make that goal? So that might be your first goal is, how can we organically grow our channels we already have in order to improve this other one? Is it relevant to your business? Is this something that will affect you? Okay.
Very relevant. Every time we send an email out, we see a boost in sales. So it's definitely our most financially profitable channel, that the way that we communicate to our customers. Perfect.
Wonderful. And is it timely? So yeah, you've got by the end of the year, you'd like to double it. So yeah, definitely timely. So it's a great goal. And just a few places where you can think a little bit deeper into how you're going to increase those resources, as well as make it a bit more specific, which you just explained here. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things I like about this one too, Alex, is, and Debbie, is you've got this overarching year goal, but it allows you to do some sub goals underneath it. So you can get more specific and you can create more SMART goals on, okay, this first quarter, I'm going to achieve, a 10% increase in the numbers of on my email list, or 25%, or you're going to try 2 different ways of no cost marketing to increase your email list. It allows you some flexibility to track and adjust throughout the year if you drill down to make some of those smaller goals.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And in particular, for example, this is just me throwing out numbers, but if your, email marketing list is 100 people, and you want to double that to 200 through organic growth of the channels you already have in referral program, you can set goals for yourself. Okay, well, I need to get 25 referrals by, March. And if you don't hit that, then look back at it and go, okay, well, why didn't the list grow by 25 in 3 months? Like, that's the rate we need to be at. What can we do to increase that? And maybe it's, 50 referrals or 100 referrals or whatever it is through your organic marketing. But that will really kind of make it extremely specific on how to get to where you need to be and catch it early. It also makes it trackable. And if you're taking ownership and leadership of that, you can follow up with anyone else on your team and say, hey, we didn't meet this. How can we go back again and be flexible with this goal and adjust it? And maybe at that point, you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not double. Maybe it's 75% because this is what's really attainable. And that's okay. And if you hit it, great, celebrate it. That's awesome. The quarter through, you get 25 extra followers or, people in your marketing list, great. But yeah, anything you can do to kind of get it down as small as possible so it's something you can actually track daily, weekly, monthly for the year, it's going to really set you ahead on your goal tracking for the rest of the year.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So I did one here on increasing exposure on social media. So same thing. And so this is kind of what we talked about here, Debbie. So if you want to increase exposure on social media, this is very similar, to the goal you originally had. But also, I need to eliminate something from my schedule because it's not achievable. I don't have time to do it. So I can set aside 1 hour a day to focus on social media posts on Instagram. So that's also very specific and measurable. In order to gain an additional 1,000 followers by February 28th, in hopes to increase traffic to our online store, which would in turn increase sales. So everything in there I've highlighted in particular to the color. So eliminate something from my schedule will help me make it achievable. Setting aside 1 hour a day to focus on social media posts is specific and also part of the measurability. To gain an additional 1,000 followers is measurable by February 28th, is timely, and in hopes to increase traffic to our online store. That's the relevancy there. I want to increase sales. So it kind of gives you a better insight on how to really niche down these goals and make them actionable and start planning. All right, Debbie. What do you want to accomplish with this goal? I think we really did a good job on making it very specific. But do you think you've answered all of these questions for yourself? So what do you want to accomplish? Why? Who's involved? Where is it going to happen? And what constraints or risks might come up?
Yeah, and I think the end goal, I don't want to just have more email followers. I want to increase revenue on our website. So that's kind of the secondary goal to achieve my primary goal. Who is involved? I would say we've got some team members that are in charge of our branding, social media. We have a marketing agency. So that's kind of and then we have collaborative partners that we can work with to try to grow our audience where we have symbiotic audiences. Where is this going to happen? What is that? I guess I'm not quite sure how to answer that one.
Yeah, so is it going to happen digitally, in the office? It can be whatever's relevant to your goal. So probably online.
Yeah, digitally. And then what constraints or risks might come up? I think just in general, lack of response from the audience, or there's a risk that folks that we want to collaborate with, since we're relying on other businesses, they may not return the effort, so it may not take off because of that. Constraints being also the person who's in charge of our branding, if they're not doing what they need to do to make the social media posts and things like that.
Another constraint that you had mentioned was the financial, that, you don't have money to necessarily go and pay for a bunch of ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are all really good sub goals, going in back to including those people who are implementing this goal. This may be a goal you're setting, but you might want to sit down with your, brand manager, the person who's doing the outreach, and say, okay, well, this is my goal. What is your goal to help us get to this point? And how can we ensure that the people we're reaching out to are relevant, that we're not just growing the list and adding people who aren't interested in our product, but we're actually growing the list on people who will buy our product. And then helping that person, taking leadership role and helping that person attain their goals in order to get to your ultimate goal, which is increase sales by doubling your email list.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the financial. If there's anything you can do to help increase the ability to get some of those finances, whether it's X number of sales, you'll take a certain percentage off of that to fund additional social media. Set a plan for yourself on how you're going to increase spend on this if you start getting results, or if you can cut something else out, and where your overall understanding is of your financial plan and how this fits in to help you really get to your goal.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Cool. So we'll move on to the next slide. Measurable. So how will you or your team know when the objective is completed or accomplished? What indicators will you look for to measure progress as well as success? And what data is available? Well, you need to come up with a new way to track progress. So for this goal, Debbie, what about number one, the first one here? How will you or your team know it's achieved?
We receive a monthly report from our marketing agency that states the number of subscribers we currently have.
Okay.
So I think that kind of answers number 2 and 3 as well. What indicators will we look for? I think I love the idea of breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. So since we receive the report monthly, we should break that goal down into a monthly target. And then, yeah, so I think, and then the data available, yes, there's data available with that monthly report.
Yeah, and you can even deep dive into this further. If you have some data or ability to see, your branding person puts out X number of emails or posts, how many responses do you get back, and kind of track that. Because if you're falling behind on the numbers, you can look at it and go, okay, well, we get 3 followers per Instagram post and 2 click-throughs to our emails and add to the email list from the emails. What do we need to be doing to make sure we're hitting those monthly targets in order to hit that goal at the end?
Yeah, that's a great idea, because what we don't have right now is I can't see, okay, when in the month did we get the most number of subscribers and tie that to a campaign where we did an Instagram campaign for people to sign up for our email. Did we see a bump in that? I wouldn't know that at this point in time. So yeah. Okay.
And maybe that's something to look into as far as, new ways to track progress. I mean, obviously there are programs out there, but they all cost money. So
sure.
Might want to look at, even just having that idea in your head, and with your brand person, having them just they'll have a really good feel for what's going on. They can probably give you an understanding of, approximates of where they're at and who's converting and who's not converting. Even if you have the list of everyone from emails that just come in, I don't know if your marketing agency shares that with you, but looking at that list of the individuals that have signed up and having your brand person look at it and kind of do a quick look over and comparison to social media, they might be able to identify where those people are coming from.
Okay.
You could even poll your audience, if you have the people who have just come in that month, you want to send them, some kind of poll, like where did you find us or what was relevant to you, that might also help you understand, why they signed up for your list and where they're coming from. And then you can tailor the rest of your marketing plan towards that.
Okay.
All right, so the next one is Achievable. So we talked about this, you have some financial constraints. So do you have the resources? There's also time, money, skill sets, ability to track things. If not, is there a solution? I think we talked about some of that. What is needed to ensure this goal is achievable, that you and your team are capable of doing it? Is this goal achievable by the time frame you've set? We kind of talked about that as well, that it's probably a stretch goal, but it's possible. And did you get input from the individuals that will be implementing this goal? And did you get their buy-in? So Debbie, where are you at on all of this?
Having the resources, we do have the time, we have the skill set, we have the people, we don't have the money. I've already mentioned that. Find a solution. I like the idea of taking bumps in revenue that we get and assigning marketing dollars off of that percentage of the sales. That was a great idea. What is needed to ensure this goal is achievable? Yeah, I think setting out a plan for what campaigns we're going to do to grow it and being able to check that off the list is important. And in that, I actually am going to be setting up a meeting with the folks that are involved to get their buy-in and just understand their restraints so that I know, what we can do and what gaps we need to fill. And is this goal achievable? Talk to me in December. We'll see.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. And when you go to get the buy-in from these people, have them set some of their own personal goals in order to help achieve this. Make sure that they're motivated and they buy in. They're, for lack of better words, drinking the juice. They're in. They want to do this. Yeah. They're convinced that it's a good idea. They understand the end goal. A lot of times, goals will be set and your brand person will be like, well, why? She just wants the numbers. Like, what's the point of this? Well, it's to increase sales. It's to, whatever it is that you're trying to do. People need to understand the full picture. It's rare that you get an employer or person who's like, okay, I'm just going to do this without asking questions. Knowing the why, the reason, how it benefits them, also helps motivate them to achieve these bigger goals for the company.
That's great. Okay.
Next one, is it relevant? So what is the impact of this goal? Why is it relevant? Is it worth doing? Is this the right time to pursue it? Does it align with your goals, your culture, your vision of the company? And what are other initiatives, needs, efforts that will be happening simultaneously in order to support this goal or that might actually hinder this goal? So we did kind of talk about some of this as well, planning social media, planning the, everything, the content that you're pushing out, making sure it's relevant, getting your partners involved. But walk me through this for you in this particular goal here.
Yeah. Impact of this goal is to grow our e-commerce revenue. I think it is worth doing. I do think it's the right time to pursue this goal. We've seen a definite shift in consumer behavior to online purchasing over brick and mortar purchasing. Does this goal align with the organization's culture and vision? Yes, it does. We are actually really aiming to grow this e-commerce channel in 2022. So it does align with our organization's and the culture and vision. Yes, just trying to get more of our product out into the hands of people. We think it's good for people. And then does this goal align with other initiatives? Yes, I think it does align. There are a lot of sub projects that need to be done. For example, just growing our audience in general. By growing our email audience, we're also growing just our, general audience, driving more traffic to our website. And there are some things that we need to do to prepare our website for that increased traffic, not so much from a bandwidth perspective, more from a content perspective to educate people on our products.
Great. And then timely. So when will you achieve this objective? We talked about that at the end of the year. Are there milestones and important things to achieve to get to this? I think we kind of broke it down, and there are some milestones that you can capitalize on, but there may be others. When will the activities take place, in what order? And what are you willing to accept and not accept as far as being ahead or behind time? You know, you can set this goal and say, I want to double my list by the end of the year, but you can set highs and lows and midpoints for that. And I think that's super important, especially for motivation of your team and keeping everyone track, because if you're constantly just falling behind and it looks impossible and you're not adjusting that goal, it's doomsday, right? Nobody's going to be motivated to do it. But if you're celebrating every little milestone and you're like, all right, great, well, we're only going to be able to do 75%. Let's adjust the goal and make sure we get there, right? So walk me through timely here with your goal.
Yeah, I think the last point that you made is going to be really important because it is a stretch goal. And I really like your idea. I just wrote that down, the high, low, midpoint goal, so that even if we're passing our low threshold, listen, we're making progress towards where we want to be. We may not arrive at this, shoot for the moon goal by the end of the year. And then as far as the timeline, I think we're going to see more momentum towards the end of the year than we will at the beginning because of efforts that we're putting in place now. Some of these things have a longer, before you start to see results, kind of a longer time.
Yeah, definitely. And, if you're setting these flexible goals, double is the max and 75% is what you're willing to accept. You may even surpass it. You may even get above 100%. I feel like when it's not so, and this goes back into like the psychology of humans, when the goal is not so scary and there's not all that pressure of just either do it or fail, there's a lot more motivation and excitement behind it. And I also really, really encourage you to celebrate wins. Even if they're little wins, acknowledge people, appreciate people. If something goes through and you get a couple followers, like, oh yeah, that's great. Like blow it kind of out of proportion in the beginning. Just get that momentum going. Especially when you're not able to reward people financially, rewarding them with acknowledgement and encouragement really helps bring the goal, to fruition.
Great. Okay.
Cool. So how do you feel about that, Debbie? Are you ready to go activate?
Oh, yes.
Plan this goal?
I'm excited. And I love the input that you gave to just kind of help it be more, break it down to bite-sized pieces, being more realistic, setting like I said before, the high, mid-level, low. That's going to be great. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And share that with your team. This is where we want to be. We're really excited about it. We understand it's a stretch goal. We'd love to get there, and let's work towards it. And then if you need to adjust it throughout the year, then that's perfectly okay.
And Debbie, I think if you follow the structure that Alex has shared with us and you talk about it with your team, not just every quarter, but every month or, in weekly meetings, give them some updates and things. I bet you beat your goal well before the end of the year.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things I found over my career is when you set goals and you break them down like this using the SMART method, is that you tend to achieve them quicker as long as you're doing the things you put down on paper. If you don't put them on paper and you just think about it, then they're just dreams and you don't get executed. But as you put them down and then you talk about them with your team and have that team involvement, they can be achieved a lot quicker than people realize.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and make sure you set a leader, whether it's you or, it's on the agenda every week or someone within your team, and keep them accountable, keep yourself accountable that you're following up on it regularly.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
I mean, you'll slip, you know, you'll go a
Yeah.
week or two and not have this focus. Something big will come up. You'll be putting out a fire and you'll lose sight of it. And then a month later, you're like, oh shoot, we got to get back to this. But
Mhm.
as long as it's only, you know, a short period of time that you're waiting, it's easy to get right back on track.
Yeah, that's great.
And Debbie, I'd love to hear back from you throughout the year on how you're doing towards your goal. And also
Yeah.
anybody else on this call that as you apply these items, you know, the SMART method, I'd love to hear back from you over the next month, 2 months, 3 months on how you're tracking towards your goals, and how this webinar helped you towards that. I'd love to hear that feedback and your stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and me too, you guys. Like, if you have questions on their goals, feel free to email them to me. I'm happy to kind of go over them and help you make them a bit smarter. We can set some time. I also have a workbook that I can email you too on basically what we just did here live with Debbie, that you can do on your own or give to other people within your organization. So feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you guys.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. How are we doing, Robert, on time? I think we're there, right?
We are right there, you know.
Cool.
Alex, great presentation. Thank you for coming on, and
Of course.
very timely, great way to start the year. I was taking notes myself. Even though I've done SMART goals for many, many years, there's some new things I learned, new questions to ask. So
Yeah.
it was very, very helpful. Again, I do want to invite everybody to share with us your SMART goal success stories. And you can respond to this email, or my contact is on the ACA's website, or you can ping me during another boot camp session. I can always send you my email directly, but we're glad you were able to to join us, both Alex and all the attendees. We're excited
Yeah,
about
thank
this
you.
new year. And I do want to make a note that Faith posted a little note in the chat about the small business development centers. They're a great resource for helping with your goal planning and follow up and many things. So they're an option for you as well, especially for some of those that posted your goals in the chat. So thank you for that, Faith. And with that, we will go ahead and just offer the reminder about next week, next Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. We will have our next boot camp session. Until then, we hope everybody has a great week, and you can get your SMART goals set up this week and start working towards them. And with that, we want to thank all of you for joining us today, and we will see you on Tuesday, next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.